They ordered the deathworld girl to apologize, and by the time she finished speaking, the principal's career was over. The order hit the academy like a pressure shock. News streamed through hallways, echoed through the submerged corridors, and rippled across the transparent dome that separated the campus from the crushing abyss outside. Even the bioluminescent creatures drifting past the glass seemed to pause, their slow pulses reflecting the tension rising inside. Rhea Solen, Earth's first admitted student in the Abyssal Academy of Unified Species, walked through the glass tunnel with her hands steady at her sides. Currents of luminous plankton drifted overhead like falling stars. She didn't look up. She didn't slow down. She didn't blink at the dozen alien students who pressed themselves against the walls, whispering the same word in a dozen languages. Deathworlder. Some said it like a warning. Some said it like a curse. Some said it with fascination, as if waiting for her to snap. She ignored all of them, until she turned a corner and almost collided with a trio of crest-born students floating on their anti-grav discs. 6 limbs each, faces covered in coral-like plates that twitched with contempt. The tallest one clicked its mandibles and drifted backward to give her space. No sudden movements, it murmured loud enough for everyone to hear. Her species attacks when startled. The tunnel fell silent. Rhea stopped walking, but she didn't react, not with her fists, not with her expression. She remembered the last time she had reacted, the moment that started all of this. The push, the shouted insult, the friend who crumpled. The sound of bone hitting metal. Her training taking over. The shove she stopped. The shove she didn't. The retaliation that every camera caught from the wrong angle. That was why she'd been summoned. Why the principal demanded a public apology. Why the entire academy waited to see if the rumors were true, that humans broke easily under authority. Rhea stepped past the crest-born trio without a word. Their laughter trailed behind her like sinking sediment. She didn't react. Not yet. The walkway opened into the central atrium, a vast spherical chamber glowing with aqua light, filled with floating seating pods and hydraulic lifts that carried students between the academy's layers. Alien species of every shape drifted, hovered, crawled, or swam through gravity-modulated currents. At the heart of it all stood the man who wanted her on her knees. Principal Heron Vex. Tall. Polished. Wrapped in a suit of flowing pressure-responsive fibers that shimmered like a living tide. His gills pulsed with perfect rhythm. 2 assistants hovered beside him holding a crystalline data slate that projected a rotating image of Rhea hurling a student across a cafeteria table. The clip looped, again and again, like a wound being reopened. As the crowd noticed her arrival, conversations died mid-syllable. Pods stopped drifting. Lifts froze in place. A hush spread like a descending current, thick, heavy, unyielding. Vex turned toward her with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Miss Solen," he called, voice echoing across the chamber. "You may approach." Rhea did. Slowly. Precisely. Every heartbeat measured. She stopped 5 paces in front of him. Her reflection wavered across the polished floor, small, contained, coiled. Vex lifted the data slate between them, letting the clip play once more. On screen, the crest-born air flew across the cafeteria in a helpless spiral, limbs flailing. A dozen gasps filled the chamber. Rhea didn't flinch. "This academy was founded on order," Vex said. "On cooperation. On restraint. What you did undermines all 3. To restore balance, you will offer a formal apology to the student you assaulted, as well as to the academy." Alien eyes glowed around her like a ring of lanterns. Rhea breathed once, deep and slow. The abyss outside the dome pulsed with distant lightning. "I won't apologize for defending someone," she replied. A ripple of shock passed through the crowd. Vex raised an eyebrow. "Defending?" he repeated. "The footage makes no mention of provocation. It shows only your violence." She felt the first emotional spike, fear pressed at her ribs, but she kept her voice steady. "You're showing the wrong footage." A murmur rolled through the atrium. Vex's jaw twitched. "Miss Solen," he said carefully, "do not compound your mistake with fabrications. The cameras clearly. I saw him shove her. Rhea interrupted. Saw her hit the floor. Saw everyone ignore it. Including the cameras. Another spike. Whispers. Movement. Vex stepped closer. You are from a chaotic world, he said, where storms tear continents apart and predators compete with your species. Here you must adapt. You must learn humility. That begins with an apology. The lights dimmed along the dome walls as if the ocean outside leaned closer. Rhea breathed again. Somewhere behind her, she heard a soft gelatinous voice tremble. Rhea! Tally. The friend she had defended. The one shoved, laughed at, dismissed. Rhea didn't turn. All the academy would see if she turned was fear. Vex extended his hand, palm upward. Kneel, he commanded. Speak the apology, and this institution may yet tolerate your presence. The word kneel echoed, quiet but sharp, through the chamber like a blade drawn underwater. And every alien watched. Every whisper turned into a vacuum. Every breath held. Every color dimmed or brightened, depending on whether they wanted her to break or stand. Rhea didn't kneel. Instead, she reached into the inner pocket of her jacket and tapped her wristband. A soft chime echoed through the atrium as the dome's hollow projector flickered to life. Vex's smile faltered. The footage that appeared behind them was not the cafeteria throw. It was the moment before. A shove. A cry. A cracking sound as Tally's small form hit the ground and collapsed into a trembling puddle. Laughter from the air and his friends. Rhea stepping forward, eyes blazing. The moment she grabbed him, when it became too late to hide behind protocol. The entire chamber held its breath. Rhea spoke softly, but every microphone caught her words. Principal Vex, she said. You knew. His pupils narrowed. Her voice stayed calm. You saw this footage and hid it, she continued. You wanted me humiliated. You wanted the academy to see a monster, not a student who refused to let someone suffer. A swarm of emotions hit the crowd: shock, anger, reevaluation. Pressure shifted in the room like a tide reversing. Vex's gills flared. That footage is unauthorized. Rhea raised her wrist. The projector pulsed again, showing the timestamp and the system watermark. It's from the Academy's Central Archive, she said. You didn't delete it. You just restricted access. Someone gasped. Someone else hissed. A senior instructor covered their mouth with a trembling hand. Vex took one step back. Rhea took one forward. You asked me to kneel, she said, each word heavy as the ocean outside. But you're the one who buried the truth. The chamber erupted, not with applause, not yet, but with a violent, confused murmur that shook the air. Rhea didn't smile. Didn't gloat. Didn't move. She simply waited, letting the truth sink deeper than any abyss. And behind her, she heard Tally whisper, voice quivering with awe. You didn't kneel. Rhea allowed herself one breath. Just one. Everything after would be consequence. Everything after would be war. The atrium lights flickered under the weight of the crowd's rising fury. Some students stared at Vex with disbelief. Others looked at Rhea the way someone looks at a storm they had underestimated. The thin shell of authority Vex wore began to crack with every second he failed to speak. He tried anyway. This human is manipulating. A voice cut him off. That's enough. The sound was deep, resonant, and carried the kind of authority that didn't need microphones. Every head turned as three figures descended from the upper observation deck, riding a column of blue light. Their elegant pressure suits marked them immediately, inspectors from the Abyssal Oversight Council. The crowd froze. Even the water outside the dome seemed to still. Inspector Kayles, the lead, stepped forward. His helmet's visor dissolved, revealing sharp, angular features and eyes like molten brass. He scanned the chamber once, then fixed his gaze on Vex. We detected tampering in the Academy's data logs 18 minutes ago, he said, and followed the trail here. Vex swallowed hard. His gills trembled. That footage was incomplete, Vex insisted. The human, she Kaylee's raised a hand. The chamber obeyed the gesture, silencing instantly. We reviewed the footage, Kaylee said. The original footage. In its entirety. Another inspector produced a spherical holocore. It floated upward, projecting the uncut cafeteria recording above them. The shove. The impact. The laughter. Rhea stepping between cruelty and cowardice. Gasps. Cries. A few instructors closed their eyes. Kaylee's turned slowly back toward Vex. You suppressed evidence of a violent offense, he said, and then demanded a coerced apology from the defender, not the attacker. The crowd erupted, not loud, but sharp, like a wound tearing open. Vex's face grew paler by the second. I acted in the Academy's interest, he insisted. This deathworlder, she is volatile. Dangerous. She defended a vulnerable student, Kaylee snapped. Something your policies require you to protect. Vex opened his mouth but no sound came out. His authority drained like leaking ballast. Kaylee's turned to Rhea. Miss Solen, he said. Step forward. She did. Her boots echoed in the quiet the crowd held like breath. You exposed the truth, Kaylee said. Did anyone instruct you to do so? No. Did you expect this council to intervene? No. Why reveal it now? Rhea's voice didn't rise or tremble. It didn't need to. Because letting someone be hurt and saying nothing is worse than any punishment you can give me. A ripple went through the crowd, a wave of realization, admiration, something deeper. Tally drifted closer, glowing softly beside her, their shapes steadier, stronger. Kaylee's nodded once. Your actions meet the ethical standard this academy claims to teach. Then he faced Vex, whose hands now shook openly. Heron Vex, Kaylee said, voice cold as abyss water. You are relieved of duty. Effective immediately. The chamber erupted, this time in stunned shock. Vex stumbled backward. You can't. This academy is under my authority. Not anymore, Kaylee said. Security drones descended around the former principal. Vex tried to regain composure, but his voice cracked. She's a deathworlder. She should kneel. The words echoed off the dome like a dying creature's last cry. Rhea didn't flinch. Tally didn't hide. The crowd didn't agree. Kaylee stepped toward Vex. Authority is not dominance. Leadership is not coercion. You forgot the difference. The drones escorted Vex through a side exit. His protests echoed faintly, swallowed by the academy's depths. The door sealed shut. Silence followed, heavy but clean, like the moment after a storm finally breaks. Kaylee's turned back toward Rhea. Miss Solen, he said, the council acknowledges your integrity. Until further notice, you will serve as Earth's student observer delegate. The words hit her harder than any accusation ever had. Tally gasped. A few students murmured in astonished tones, some supportive, others wary, but all aware they were witnessing a shift. Earth, Rhea said quietly, isn't ready for that level of attention. Kaylee studied her carefully. Attention finds those who stand when others kneel. Before she could respond, a soft vibration pulsed through the dome above. Massive silhouettes drifted past, long, whale-like shapes gliding along the outer hull. Their bioluminescent stripes shimmered in complex patterns. The crowd watched in awe. Tally whispered, they respond to emotional energy. They've never come this close before. Rhea breathed out. They can feel it. A new voice rose from among the students. You turned the entire academy, someone said. Rhea looked over to see Draven, one of the older aquatic students known for his stoic calm, approaching her. His scaled skin reflected the ambient light like shifting glass. You didn't intimidate your way into respect, Draven said. You steadied yourself in the middle of a storm. She didn't know how to answer that. So she didn't. Instead, she stepped down from the platform, and the crowd parted for her, not out of fear, but recognition. Tally followed at her side, their small body glowing in warm pulses. Are you all right? Rhea asked softly. Tally wobbled with a trembling laugh. I was more scared for you. They wanted to break you. Maybe, Rhea whispered. But breaking isn't the same as bending. Tally tilted their head. And you didn't bend. She didn't reply. She didn't need to. Students watched her with shifting expressions: respect, curiosity, re-evaluation. Some whispered her name. Others edged closer, wanting to ask about Earth, about deathworld resilience, about the girl who refused to kneel and exposed the principal in front of the entire academy. Rhea didn't stop for attention. She stopped only when Tally tugged her sleeve. Thank you, they whispered, for not leaving me on the floor. Rhea looked at her friend, the trembling gelatinous creature everyone else had dismissed. You mattered, Rhea said. That's all. Tally's glow brightened so intensely it cast soft reflections across the dome. A final chime echoed through Rhea's wristband. A message. From Abyssal Oversight Council. Subject: Delegation Summit. Your presence required. She exhaled slowly. Already? She murmured. Tally smiled. Big waves form from small disturbances. Rhea looked toward the ocean depths swirling beyond the transparent dome, bioluminescent leviathans drifting like silent watchers. Somewhere in that shifting darkness, her future waited, unexpected, uninvited, unavoidable. Earth hadn't asked her to kneel. It asked her to stand. And she had. Now the galaxy would have to decide what to do about it.